Hello and welcome back to live coverage of the Apex Gaming 5,000 last chance qualifier. We are competing in a 5-round event as we're playing for 4 slots for tomorrow's $20,000 invitational. We are entering in round number 4. These players that we're going to be watching this round are undefeated. Ross, why don't you give us a rundown of the 2 players we're going to watch as well as the matchup?
Yeah, we got 4 players at 3-0 this round, so provided there are no unintentional draws, the 2 winners of these 2 undefeated matches will be 4-0. They'll be able to intentionally draw round 5 and lock their spots. So this should be a winning in for our players, and we're going to be starting with table 1, James Mangus on 4-color Omnath Beans. This is the Cascade build with Shardless Agent and Bloodbraid Elf to get more beans onto the battlefield. Also has that Singleton Jace Wielder of Mysteries so that you don't deck. Playing against Jacob Endicott on Temur Murktide, a new build of this deck, splashing green for Questing Druid. Jacob's list also has a couple copies of Tarmogoyf to make the green splash worthwhile. Don't see any green in the sideboard, so just a few extra threats for this Murktide deck. Should be a really interesting matchup because the Questing Druids give you a little bit more card advantage, help you stay, ahead of all of the removal that the Omnath deck can present.
All right. So this matchup, we have James Mangus on Omnath versus Jacob Endicott on Team Murktide. The players are already in the feature match area, so let's head on down and see who wins. This is playing for 4-0. The winner of this match very likely to draw next round into the top 4 and cement their place in the 20K Invitational tomorrow. That's what the players are playing for, and let's see who takes it down. They haven't even rolled dice yet. You've been over there for multiple minutes.
We give them so much time,
and
they just squander it with their dilly-dallying.
All right, you really are Principal Skinner. Holy crap. Holy man, oh man. Okay, looks like we have Endicott on Team Murktide going to be on the play. Starting off here with a Shockland into Dragon Rage Channeler. Nice little aggressive start. Let's see if Magus has any counter. Rogan Triumph tapped is the play.
This is what the Murktide deck wants. It wants to play from ahead.
Dash.
Play that turn 1 threat. Start
Bang.
dealing some damage. And maybe, leave up some counter spells to protect them. Got a couple Spell Pierces. Do I see one in hand?
Finds the treasure. Top of the deck is just a land, so no cast, but damage is getting dealt. Here's a Beanstalk. Mangus going to draw.
Yeah. I see Expressive Iteration and some green cards in hand, so the dash on the Ragavan was mainly to get access to green mana. It would appear.
Okay.
Did we go for the iteration?
Seems like that's what we're going to do. This is going to put stuff in the graveyard for the Dragon Rage Channeler. Top of the deck, we're going to keep it. Looking at the top 3 with iteration. Finds a land.
Yeah, we
that's
wanted
what
a
we're
land
looking
drop.
for. And
It's
then
like
one
a
goes to
Flooded
the bottom.
Strand.
That's my guess.
Yeah. All the fetchable lands in this Temur deck are islands, so any blue fetch land will
No
work.
Stomping Ground?
I doubt it.
I mean, you doubt it. It's a Temur deck. I was thinking if I wanted a Catcher Triumph or if I wanted one Breeding Pool, one Stomping Ground.
There's only one breeding pool for green sources.
Man.
I mean,
No respect.
There's only 5 green cards. And you got Ragavan for treasures.
Yeah, fine. All right. We're going to crack that Flooded Strand. Going to go get another copy of Steam Vents. Pushing closer to Delirium. We'll see if we want to dash Ragavan again or maybe play that powerful 2-drop from Time Spiral, or Future Sight rather, Tarmogoyf. Creature that used to define Modern and now it's more of an afterthought. A huge influx of interaction. Cheap removal makes him a bit weaker, but still a 2-cost large beater. Something you can use to leverage counterspells and other defensive measures.
Yeah. We need more Tarmogoyfs and Pioneer.
I have been really hoping that at some point they just reprint a bunch of stuff that no longer sees play in Modern that everyone loves into Pioneer.
Yeah. You have Star Confidant,
Yeah.
Tarmogoyf, Snapcaster Mage, Lingering Souls.
Yeah, great.
Electrolyze, Huntmaster of the Fells.
Flame of Anor.
Restoration Angel.
Flame of Anor. You know, they actually made a Restoration Angel that's legendary. I don't know if you know that. It's not good. That means Restoration Angel is also not good.
But does it have Flash?
Yes. It's literally 4-cost, 3/4 legendary. When it comes in, blink a thing, and it has an extra ability, and it's not good enough. That card exists. It's from Dominaria. One of the Dominarias, the one with Hero of Dominaria, I think. It's got like a 5-color ability, but
I don't know about that.
I don't know the name of it. It's a legend. There's a million bad legends in this game, especially now.
Yep.
We're all commander pilled.
Okay, let's cascade into more beans.
Why is this 4-color Omnath? It's 4-color beans. Change it, director. I didn't know they were playing Cascade stuff. It's definitely a beans deck.
It's also an Omnath deck.
But it's not an Omnath deck. It's a beans deck that has Omnath in it. That's the difference. We're going to draw a card, and now all of our pitches like Solitude are going to be absolutely crushing.
Do we have any of those vocal? We have a Solitude.
We have one. You know what Omnath does, Ross, in this deck? It gets pitched to Solitude to draw 2 cards. Finds another Beanstalk. We're going to eat the Goyf. We're going to gain a little bit of life. It's not really the thing we care about too much.
Yeah, things going pretty well for Mangus here. The double bean start, bean on 2, bean on 3 into the Solitude. That's about as good as it gets.
Ross, I know you're a jazz guy. I know you're a Utah jazz guy, but are you a regular jazz guy? Are you a fan of jazz music?
Not really.
There's a musician whose last name is Mangus. I don't even know the first name. But there was an old episode of C-Lab 2021 where there were soft drinks named after musicians, and Mangus Dew is the one that always pops in my mind. And James Mangus is driving me crazy.
Mangus is doing it right now.
That's true. That's good. See, this is why I bring up stupid anecdotes, so you can come up with funny things.
It's a second chuckle from the director for me. 2-0.
All right. Oh, I haven't made him laugh. I gotta just say the most outlandish stuff now. Hold on.
Oh, you can't. It has to be off the cuff. You can't be, writing things in the hotel room and bringing your jokes in like you're a stand-up comedian.
So you're saying that we're on camera for 8 to 10 hours, and I'm not allowed to bring any prepared materials?
Just like magic. No outside notes.
Yeah, I guess in the game of making Taryn laugh, that's fair. Ross sucks. Oh, I didn't get it. Oh, all right. Dang.
All right, well, Jacob's got a Rogovan that doesn't attack well because of the Shardless Agent. And
Leyline Binding is the pickup for Mangus, though, and that's going to draw 2 more cards while dealing with one of these opposing creatures.
We're short a swamp, so it's a 2-mana Leyline Binding. But that curves nicely with this 3rd copy of Up the Beanstalk.
All right, we'll see if Endicott has an answer for it. He doesn't.
Yeah, we can also just fetch a Black Triumph here and then cast it for 1.
No rush on it, though. We are being defensive, so we can wait and see if Shardless gets in front of the Rogovan, and if it does and can trade, then we'll probably blow out the Dragon Rage Channeler with the Binding and draw 3 cards. That's the big downside of playing in a fair deck against the Beanstalks, is that if you're just kind of playing into their game plan, they want to play a longer game. They want you to kill their stuff and draw cards and play these strategies that are vulnerable to Leyline Binding and all these removal spells.
Yeah, and there's not a ton the Murktide deck can do to get around it. Normally in these matchups that you're trying to get underneath them, but with all the free spells and Up the Beanstalk being such a cheap card advantage engine, it's tough to do.
Now, we actually talked about this last time me and Ross were here, but James Mangus also kind of looks like Aspiring Spike. And what was the nickname you came up for him with?
I have no idea.
Yeah. All right, here is Counterspell on Binding. We get a Surveil, but Mangus also going to get to draw 3 cards off of the Up the Beanstalks. This is a bad spot to be in if you're Endicott, but we are going to go back Mangus's way.
I saw Solitude Teferi among the 3 cards drawn.
It's not great.
There's a Bloodbraid Elf and a Fury.
Yeah, here's Fury. Anyway, here's Fury.
Anyway, here's Wonderwall.
We're going to start with Omnath in the 4-color Beans deck.
Ooh. Omnath eats another counter spell.
Okay.
I guess we'll just have to evoke the Fury. Draw 3 cards and kill all your creatures.
We do have a Surveil going on the stack, so we're going to pause for a moment while Endicott does the fetching here. Finds island number 3 to play the counterspell, and then we're going to get that Surveil.
Is that down to 1 card in hand for Endicott now? Looks like there's only 1 in that face down pile. Meanwhile, Mangus was just with a bevy of riches.
Yeah, and the Evoke Elementals, Fury, Solitude, they make Beanstalk look kind of ludicrous. And I don't think Beanstalk is on its face like a overpowered card. It's very, very good. But when you combine it with some of the most broken mechanics in Magic, Cascade, and then free Evoke Elementals, you just get this card draw engine that's so potent at interacting with your opponent.
Yeah. I think Mangus is going to have to discard the hand size.
Cool, cool. If I were Endicott, I would concede. I would save time. I know that that seems weird, but these games can go very long. There is 0% chance Jacob Endicott can win this game.
Yeah, I mean, your hand is about as good as it can be with Expressive Iteration Murktide Region, and I agree with you, Tada. I just don't think that's anywhere close to getting this game back into your favor.
Let's see if Endicott can prove me wrong. We found another expressive iteration. We can play that. We're going to put it in hand. We're going to find a land as well. That's Steam Vents number 3. We're going to play it tapped, and then we're going to play a big old Murktide Regent. We're going to exile a bunch of stuff from the graveyard, and now it's going to be up to Mangus to answer this extremely large flying creature. All right, looks like we're not going to give it the full juice, or we're just trying to make sure that we have Delirium. It looks like we're exiling 3. Okay, so we got a 6/6 flyer.
I think Mangus has multiple Teferis in hand and a land, so even if the last card is some sort of counter spell, and with 1 mana up, I don't even know what it would be, we have this Murktide covered.
Okay, answer 1. Here it is, Teferi. That one's going to also lock out counter spells for the foreseeable future. I'm going to bounce the Murktide and draw.
And counter magic is the one way maybe Endicott could have found a sequence of draws back into this game and just, stifle Mangus's mana, hope he doesn't hit any more Evoke Elementals off these bean draws and counter spell a few relevant cards. But now with the Teferi, even that pipe dream is gone.
All right, Ross, how many times in your life have you revealed your hand to your opponent to try to get them to concede to save time?
Under 5.
Under 5? Yeah, I'm probably under 5 as well, but I really enjoy doing it. And if I were Mangus here, I would definitely flash double Solitude at you.
Yeah.
Kill both your next 2 creatures, draw 6 cards. Pretty good.
Yeah. And we iterated into an answer to the Teferi, plus we get to recast the Murktide region.
Cool.
There's 2 Solitudes, I think, in Mangus's hand.
There sure are. Okay, we're going to do some exile, and we're going to make a pretty big Murktide. It's not full size, but it's at least a 5/5. Looks like it's going to be a 6/6. Back Mangus's way. Draws for turn. Draws 4th Beanstalk. Not going to go for that one. The 4th one is occasionally dangerous, but it's less dangerous when you're playing the Jace, whatever.
Wielder of Mysteries.
Yeah, the 4-drop Jace that protects you. Here's Blood Raid Elf. This is guaranteed Teferi hit because we know that we have the 4th Beanstalk in hand. So James, aware of that, casting the Blood Raid here to go ahead and bounce that Murktide back to hand.
The Bloodbraid Elf is not in play yet. If we're trying, no, that's
It's on the stack. Good call.
Mangus
good
explaining
catch.
the interaction. Cascade happens with the original spell still on the stack, so the Teferi gets cast first, then the Bloodbraid Elf. So there's no window for Endicott to cast the removal spell on the elf before the Teferi enters the battlefield.
All right, so Teferi enters.
Yeah. Pitch these 2 cards, answer your 1 card, draw 3 more cards. You're down a card, I'm up a card.
Pretty good. You gain a bunch of life now.
I didn't spend any mana. Struck out the plus on the Teferi. And pass with another full hand.
Yeah, we did give him a bunch of life, though. The Murktide did gain us 6 from the Solitude.
Okay.
Finds.
That's a good draw.
Seek the Beast, Questing Druid. Let's get Questing Druid on the screen, because this is one that, Andrea Mengucci, popular streamer and former Mythic champion, has been playing in Is It Murktide and popularizing it. We have Questing Druid, but the more important part of that is Seek the Beast. For 2, you get to exile the top 2 cards of your library till the end of your the next end step. You may play those cards. So acts very similarly to Reckless Impulse and those other draw effects, but gives you the ability to attach a Quirion Dryad to it. Not so bad.
Gonna Seek the Beast in response to this Teferi. Set up our next turn. Iteration is a solid card. Still nowhere near good enough.
Did I speak too soon, Ross? This game is going on for so long. I didn't,
Yeah,
but still
don't worry.
doesn't even have the breeding pool in play. Can't even cast the Questing Druid. Questing Druid in shambles.
Oh, drew the breeding pool. So we're gonna play the Questing Druid first and start trying to build some counters on it, which is only relevant if we immediately find an answer to this Teferi. And even then, yeah, there's... okay. Let's just fire the Druid for 2.
You can do
Or
it for
play
1 because of Teferi means there's no spell
yeah.
potential cast.
True, true. Maybe he just wants to get the Solitude down here, though, so we start clocking Endicott.
Maybe. Seems reasonable.
You got the Teferi to check any later Murktides.
It's true. Mangus is getting low on cards, but we know he does have 1 copy of Teferi, Wielder of Mysteries, in the deck that he can use to deck himself and win the game. 1 life gain for Endicott, and now Expressive Iteration will resolve. Let's look at the top 3. We have played a land this turn, so that Spybluff Canal's dead. Top of the deck, I think I saw Blood Moon. Is that anything? Okay.
I mean, I guess all 3 basics are already on the battlefield for Mangus, though.
Yeah.
So you're not locking them out of anything, and if it's annoying, we can just bounce it with that Teferi.
That's true.
So,
All right. Gonna go back Mangus's way. Still a lot of time to actually physically win the game here for Mangus. So if Endicott doesn't tap the mat, we could have another 5 or so minutes of this game, and we're burning precious clock in what can be.
There's a Fury in hand for Mangus. I think that's getting cast this turn with all of these mountains.
All right. Teferi ticks up. Beanstalk number 4, question mark?
Or are we playing a Shardless Agent?
Shardless, no targets. That's fine. Let's play this Teferi, or let's play this Fury too. Let's get some pressure down, huh? Would you like to look at my deck? Okay, I'm gonna shuffle it.
All right.
There are no beans left. The last bean's in my hand.
If you're not willing to look at your opponent's deck, you should be conceding here. Because that's the one bit of information that you could be potentially helpful in a future game.
All right, Temple Garden enters untapped because it's a mountain. And it looks like Mangus is just going to go to discard instead of playing the Fury, valuing the ability to kill a creature pretty highly.
Yeah, but the Teferi can bounce the Fury if it absolutely needs to. Just kill your opponent. Kill them.
Well, what if Mangus's plan is to win the match 1-0-1?
Sure. We're not quite that deep into the round. We've used a third of the clock here. For a third of the games.
What if Mangus stops attacking? That's like some pretty bad BMs, but like,
yeah.
I mean, come on, man. If you're at like 1 and your opponent's just not attacking, pack it in, brother. Here's Unholy Heat. That's with Delirium. That's going to take out the Teferi Time Raveler. So now Counterspell is online, and I think that's the last card in hand. Well, maybe that Counterspell actually hits the Teferi Wielder of Mysteries and steals the game, but we'll see if that comes to fruition. Attack for 5.
Play another mountain. We got another Teferi.
Got another Solitude as well.
Is that 3 copies of Fire Ice? That's 6 damage that can go upstairs.
Too bad Fury can't go to the face, huh?
Yeah, that's what we needed. We need to add more functionality to
I
Fury.
really thought that was going to make Terran chuckle. Dang. That's my goal from now on, is just to make Terran chuckle.
Yeah, Teferi forces the counterspell, and now Endicott is on Bupkis.
Is that named after Dick Bupkis, the famous football player?
His name was Butkus with a T.
You said Butkus. Got him! Yes! Director chuckle. Got him. Fury, draw 4, or 3, and just Odawara from Endicott, and minus 9 minutes. That's where I'm counting. 9 minutes subtracted from when he was 0%.
It was about 41 when you mentioned it. I agree. So
All right. Well, as these players reach for the sideboard, old Jacob Endicott with that Team Murktide deck is going to be needing some help to defeat this Omnath strategy. Ross, why don't you tell me what's in this Team Murktide sideboard and how you think Endicott is going to approach it?
Okay, the sideboard is 2 Fury, 1 Subtlety, 1 Brazen Borrower, 2 Ledger Shredder, 2 Brotherhood's End, 1 Force of Negation, 1 Flusterstorm, 1 Unlicensed Hearse, 2 Engineered Explosives, 1 Leyline of Punishment, and 1 Blood Moon. I love the Subtlety. That's the best card in the sideboard. There's one in the main as well. I think I like Fury just as a powerful card. And it can, pick off some of these planeswalkers of value, pick off an odd, Solitude, or maybe, some of those Cascade creatures. So I like this. I like the Furies. I wonder if Ledger Shredder is better than something like Tarmogoyf, just because you can occasionally get some value out of it, and flying is relevant. I don't think Tarmogoyf is very good in this matchup. Unfortunately, the counterspells are pretty poor. I also wonder if you maybe want Leyline of Punishment to stop the life gain from Omnath and potentially Solitude,
Yeah,
if
maybe.
you really want to be that aggressive. And I kind of like Blood Moon on the play. I don't like it as much on the draw. The threat of turn 2ing it on the play off of a Ragavan really just forces the 4-color deck into some awkward fetch scenarios.
Yep.
So I think I would have the Blood Moon on the play and then board it out for a potential game 3.
All right, on the other side of the coin, we have James Mangus's Beanstalk deck. Why don't you tell us what's in the sideboard and how you think he's going to approach this Team Murktide matchup?
Okay. James's sideboard is 3 copies of Obsidian Charmaw, 1 Lavinia Azorius Renegade, 2 Inevitable Betrayal, 2 Commandeer, 1 Magmatic Sinkhole, 3 Force of Vigor, 1 Chalice of the Void, and 2 Leyline of Sanctity. The Sinkhole is kind of okay. Doesn't seem great to me. I don't think this is a matchup where you want to cast Inevitable Betrayal instead of Beans.
Nah, that one's more for getting like Eldrazi out of your
Yeah.
opponent's deck or whatever, but I agree.
This might be a no changes scenario.
No changes. Love it. All right.
I mean, maybe the Chalice of the Void. Chalice on 1 is kind of good, but you're going to Cascade into it. So, yeah, we can't do that. Yeah, I really. Maybe you want Force of Vigor for Blood Moon? Maybe?
I'm good. I'm off it.
Yeah.
Just fetch basics. You'll be fine. As these players are continuing their sideboarding and shuffling up here for game number 2, I'd like to take this time to thank our sponsors for today's event as well as this weekend's festivities. We do have the Apex Gaming $20,000 Modern Invitational happening tomorrow on this very channel starting at 11 a.m. Make sure to tune back in for that. And that is brought to you by the following companies. Ultimate Guard. Ultimate Guard products are the best in the business when it comes to TCG supplies. The Katana sleeves are top notch, and the Archive deck box is great for carrying around things like your cube or a bunch of Commander decks. Make sure to check out Ultimate Guard products at your local game store. Moxfield.com. Moxfield is a great deck building website that I've been using over the last few days, and I think it has a lot of potential. It's a great way to share deck lists with your friends over Discord, Twitter, or what have you. We'll be using Moxfield here to share deck lists on all of our YouTube VODs. So if you're watching this on YouTube, check the video description if you'd like to see these players' deck lists. Also, I'd like to say thanks to Wings, etc., Grill and Pub. They keep us fed and happy on these long tournament weekends. We were there last night and had a blast, and we're probably going to go again tonight. Thank you so much to Wings, etc. And then finally, our flagship sponsor is TCGplayer.com. TCG Player is your one-stop shop for all your TCG needs, your trading card games from Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Magic the Gathering, and even now Disney's Lorcana. Make sure to check out TCGplayer.com for any singles you might need. And if you're a retailer, don't forget, you can also sell your stuff on TCG Player's marketplace. TCG Player also has a sister website, TCG Player Infinite, where they post all of their strategy content. Check out TCG Player Infinite if you'd like to read awesome strategy articles by folks like Frank Carson, Hall of Famer.
Okay, players look like they're just about done shuffling. I think those cards on the mat are cards Endicott has sideboarded out, so those will go back in the deck box. Yep.
All right, about to shuffle up here and take a look at our openers. All right, let's talk about what these players are playing for. Right now, we are playing a 5-round invitational qualifier. This is a last chance qualifier for tomorrow's main event. If you go if you get first place, you get 25,000 tickets Second place, 15,000 tickets. Third and fourth each get 8,000 tickets, and fifth through eighth each get 4,000 prize wall tickets. This is a lot of prize wall tickets for the really sweet setup we have, including foil sheets of things like Commander Masters.
Yeah, 25K gets you halfway to the foil uncut sheet of Commander Masters. That's a 50K item on our prize wall.
Yeah, and by 50K item, he obviously means 50,000 prize wall tickets. But in actual real money dollars, I've seen them sell for thousands.
Yep. So yeah, the 25,000 prize wall tickets, nothing to sneeze at. What is something to sneeze at is apparently both of our opening sevens because they both got shipped back pretty quickly.
All right. These players are 3-0. The winner here will likely be able to intentionally draw next round, locking their slot into tomorrow's Invitational. After this round, we should have 2 undefeated players both able to draw into 401, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it'll be the winner of this match, and then the other 3-0 match is Christopher Hafner on Mono Green Tron against Tyler Price on the Jeskai control deck we saw last round.
Mm-hmm.
So that match is one of our backup matches. I see they're still playing. Not too many results this early in the round.
It's halfway done. I mean, early. All my matches are done in 13 minutes. On the SCG tour, my average done match time was under 20 minutes. I play fast.
I know.
Except when I was playing Jeskai Black. Then it was like 25 minutes. All right. Both players have taken a mold of 6. Let's see if their 6s are any better.
And at this point, down to 25 minutes. If Endicott wins game 2, game 3 might be a tough one to finish. He's taking his sweet time. It looks like shuffling the opponent's deck. Maybe they're getting a little lost in conversation. But you got a match to play, and you don't have all day to finish it. Because we're not going to be here all day. We got to get some wings.
That's a lie. We are going to be here all day.
Yeah, that is true.
After the 5th round of today's event, we will be taking a short break, but later in the day, we will be covering a 5-round Pioneer Last Chance qualifier. If you're in the area and you're interested in playing, you can still come up to Apex Gaming in Caldwell, Ohio, and at 5 o'clock, we're going to be running that 5-round event. Here is a preordain on turn 1 from Endicott. We're going to be digging for some pressure.
Yeah, fine play, but not ideal. This is a matchup where you really want to be aggressive, but at least likes the top 2 cards, keeping them there.
All right, just as the Goth Triumph from Mangus, but a turn 1 Triumph is pretty common. This deck does cascade into Beanstalk, so has essentially nothing that costs 1. Here's Ledger Shredder. This is a nice turn 2 play.
Yeah, Shredder did indeed come in, and then looking at the hand, it looks like a Murktide Regent, a Preordain, an Expressive Iteration, and a Flooded Strand for Endicott. So has a bunch more card draw to sift through his deck, trigger Connive, and start getting his game plan enacted.
All right, quick fetch from Mangus on 2 for planes. We can spend 2 for a Leyline Binding or something like up your Beanstalk. Let's see what he's got. Here it is. Beanstalk, draw a card. Any force negation? No, it resolves. Pain.
Turn 2, just like last game for James Mangus. That is how you draw it up when you're playing beans.
I'm still thinking about them beans.
Turn 2 is the bean turn.
And turn 3.
Yeah,
turn 4
is the other bean turn.
Spire Bluff Canal is the land for Endicott. I see a Murktide Regent hanging out over there. It's not coming down this turn, but could be something we dig towards for later.
Yeah, going for the Preordain first to try to find another spell. Looks like a Fury was drawn after 2 into the bottom. And now if he wants to connive... Oh, no, is that just a Lightning Bolt?
Bolt you!
Okay, so we're just deciding to use the Bolt to connive and save the iteration. We could have just iterated discarding the Lightning Bolt to the connive.
Yeah, but then we have a bad expressive iteration because we've already played a land.
Who
I like the Bolt.
decides to keep Island in hand over a Flooded Strand. That does make our Murktide Regent worse.
Yeah.
Flooded Strand next turn would have been a 5th card.
Yeah, but 3 lands is like all you need. Oh, yeah, I would have pitched the island, I guess. That's
Yeah,
fair.
just leaves you extra cards in your graveyard at the cost of a life point that Endicott's life total in this matchup is mostly irrelevant. Mangus is going to take over the game, drawing a million cards and answering everything you have.
All right, Mangus going to pass the turn back. Thumbs Leyline Binding to the front of his hand and shuffles it around. Has Magmatic Sinkhole as well. Can we get Magmatic Sinkhole on the screen? Because this is one we don't see too much. But the fact that it has a mana value of 6 means that it triggers Beanstalk, but effectively it costs 1 or however much you want to delve for it. Delve actually got a little bit of a boost from Beanstalk recently. You know, and I'm curious to see like how many murderous cuts and things like that end up in these decks over time.
Endicott here getting punished for keeping the island over the fetch land. Could have, drew a counterspell for turn and has a Murktide. Could have gone Murktide plus counterspell this turn, which I think would be better than the iteration. Actually played the land first in order to hold up the counterspell. So now is iterating tapped out, which he tried to avoid last turn. That's why he threw away the lightning bolt. But has now ended up in that position all the same because of the way he chose to connive on his previous turn.
Yeah, but did you think, nuh-uh? Did you ever think about that?
Styles a land but can't play it.
Yep. Just going to go to the exile zone, and we're going to go back Mangus's way. The Leyline Binding hitting the counterspell is interesting, but what it really says to me is that there's no way out, because none of the threats from Mangus's deck actually matter that much. They're all just kind of there to stifle the opponent's development, whether it's Fury, Solitude, even Shardless Agent. And so Counterspell has essentially one real target, and that's up the Beanstalk. And I guess two with Omnath Logos of Creation, but the deck is so adept at putting Beanstalk onto the table or forcing through the Beanstalk through multiple counterspells that once it's in play, the card Counterspell becomes absolutely horrid.
Yeah, you can gain some tempo, but with all the free spells, that's also hard to do. So,
Right. It's a nice squeeze. I mean, the Beanstalk deck is certainly great, and it's my pick for like top 3 decks in the format. I'm very surprised there's not more people playing it. I think that it plays really well against all the creature-based decks like Yawgmoth, Murktide. Even Rakdos Scam. I think it's okay against because Beanstalk is just naturally good at refreshing your resources.
Magus there, cracking the Flooded Strand, initially chose Forest, realized that that is not a legal target for the Flooded Strand, so gets basic Island instead. Has a second Bean in hand and a Magmatic Sinkhole, so he could go Bean Sinkhole. Decides to deny Endicott the Connive, but costs himself a card in doing so.
All right, we got a reader. Endicott taking a look at Sinkhole, deals 5. We're going to draw a card off the Beanstalk.
Finds a Fury, that's a nice one.
Ooh, another Beanstalk here. We're going to draw a card and pass it back to Endicott. So, in a hard spot, no pressure, has Murktide Regent that can come down, and Darcy as well.
Yeah.
Guess that's the turn.
So just going to present his threats and hope they're good enough. The big question is Endicott able to maintain Delirium through this Murktide Regent?
Doesn't even play the Murktide Regent?
Not a Murktide?
That's a Murktide Regent.
Yeah.
I don't know why he didn't play it. Anyway, we're going to go back to Mangus. We have 4 mana before we play a land. We can play our 5th mana source here, maybe play something like Solitude.
Endicott had plenty of cards in the graveyard to run out the Murktide Regent without losing Delirium.
Maybe he wants to wait until he has Counterspell. Maybe that's the thing. I don't think that's that bad of a play. Because I think Murktide is basically your only out, and if you go Murktide plus Counterspell on your Solitude, you might actually be able to win. Otherwise, I think just Dedge.
And now with the second Bean and that Fury, we've drawn a few more cards. I see Omnaths and Bloodbraid Elves. I think this game will end relatively quickly, and Mangus will have a painless last match before taking the draw in round 5.
All right, here's a Del for 5, though. Makes a big Murktide Regent. We'll see if he has the answer for it. It's not a done deal just yet. Murktide is putting him within 1 of lethal. I don't know that he has a Solitude at the ready.
No, he has Fire Ice to tap it down for a turn if he wants to. I think he has a Teferi as well.
We can Bloodbraid Elf and look for Teferi if we don't have a Teferi.
There's also Omnath if we want to start with that. Does have a fetch land to go with it.
Oh, Omnath's a juicer because it's basically free and we get some extra mana as well and some extra life. Draw 1 card from the ability.
What is it? Did you get a glimpse of the card in Endicott's hand?
It's a subtlety.
That one's not very good here.
No, it's not. Gonna fetch down to 12 after gaining the 4 life. Gonna make 4 mana. So we essentially have access to 6. We'll see what Mangus wants to do with it. He has a Gritful.
Wurg floating.
Wurg. This is demoralizing. I love Dex. This is giving me like stress from watching Murktide try to fight Beanstalk, man.
Oh, found another bean and not a fairy. Probably would have preferred Teferi in this spot.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So he even has Shardless Agent in hand and chose one versus the other. I think we're actually just going to take a hit from this Murktide. So what we thought was a perhaps unwinnable position, maybe a little bit better, but we do have ice.
Yeah, there's 2 fire ices in hand. We fire off 1. Could have done that on upkeep. Instead, gave Endicott a chance to draw some sort of counterspell. He did not, so now we're tapped. There's a Solitude.
Do we even need to play it? I feel like we can just smash here for 1,000 and then land, gain, effectively 7 over a turn cycle.
Yeah, we can just fire 1/1, kill the Ragavan, do 1 to you. Yeah, it doesn't even feel the need to do that.
Going to trade with Bloodbraid Elf, and now we're going to take 6, 10 down to 8. We have Ice and Solitude in hand. If I'm Mangus, I just go for Ice. I don't even go for Solitude here. We're going to go with Fetching. This is going to give us some more mana. What do you say? What did you say it was? Wurg?
Wurg.
Wurg.
Wurg up.
That's pretty good. I got that song on my playlist. I like that. I like that song quite a bit. Is that the MC Scat Cat one with Paula Abdul?
No,
That's a different song.
no idea.
All right, we're gonna fetch. We got 4 mana.
Mangus trying to optimize plays that don't need to be optimized. You're winning by a country mile.
All right, we're gonna float 1 mana. Not sure what color, but I'm sure he announced it to his opponent. There's 1 Beanstalk left, so we're gonna go pretty quick looking for it. It's the last hit.
Quad beans.
You may see. Oh, what? There's a fire. Oh, there's a Chalice of the Void. All right. Well, we do have a small awkwardness here because Chalice of the Void is gonna come in. We don't have to cast it, but if we do cast it, that's fine. But what we did do is flip over an extra card, and that's a dexterity error.
Looking at extra cards, it'll just be a simple warning. Hopefully, Mangus has not accrued a bunch of looking at extra cards warnings in this tournament.
It does happen quite a bit with Cascade, though, because, as you're peeling over cards off the top, it's pretty common that you get that daze, like your eyes glaze over, and then you just go one too far.
Oh, yeah. But no harm, no foul. We'll assess a warning. Head Judge Garrison Fote is already over there and on top of it. I'm just trying to get this match over. One of our backups is still going.
You want to just call it? They don't do that too often in NFL, but that's because they have contracts to run the whole game, and we don't. I'm not paying these people anything.
We're going to watch the game come to its natural conclusion. I can say that we do have our other 4-0 player already locked up. Christopher Hafter on Mono Green Tron defeated Tyler Price on Jeskai Control.
Okay, so Mono Green Tron cashing the ticket to tomorrow's event, huh?
Actually, both of our Tron players in last night's field made the top 4. So Tron has been far and away the most successful archetype in our modern LCQs. We'll see if that carries over tomorrow to the Invitational itself.
All right, shuffling the cards on the Cascade. We're going to put them on bottom. Didn't even play the Chalice because Chalice on 0 doesn't do a whole lot. For 2 mana here, we have the 1 floating. We're going to go Shardless again, and that one's going to guarantee to hit the last up the Beanstalk because we know the Chalice is in that bottom pile. James now being very careful, but all that does is make my life worse. But it makes his life better, so that's fine. All right, Beanstalk coming in. We're going to draw a card. Shuffling those go to the bottom.
Will Hall won his match.
Will Hall won his match, so he's got another bang-ring.
Another win and pray.
Win and hope. That's so sick. Dude flew here from London. Not London, England. I don't know where he's from. United Kingdom.
Oh, Jacob Endicott says, I have a game action to take.
Finally.
James Mangus says, I do not care.
Bees for Life says not snipe. Thanks so much for the new sub. Appreciate you. If you got a Prime sub lying around, make sure to put it somewhere. Don't give it to Bezos. We'd love it if you gave it to us. And it'll make sure you don't see any commercials except for our lovely sponsors that we talk about between games.
Okay. Mangus going to take 14 minutes to decide how he wants to answer this subtlety.
Okay, first of all, Mangus has not been playing slow. Okay? Neither player's really been playing slow. The game just takes forever.
Jacob, the game is over. You have lost. He has the high ground.
All right. Well, he doesn't know that. He doesn't know there's solitudes and ices for days.
Does it on the upkeep.
Finds Chalice of the Voids.
Ugh.
Another Murktide. Okay. We're at 7. Can we just like eat subtlety and then attack? They go to 10. You block there. You take 4, 8.
Take 8.
Dang.
Yeah.
Not quite.
We're almost there.
Endicott holding on for dear life. Both Murktide's going to get some counters here. We're doing some combat math.
Yeah, Mangus is doing the math to try to figure out how he can force through lethal. Oh, we have a Bloodbraid Elf. So
Okay.
that along with the Solitude on
just-
subtlety will be lethal.
Great. Because it's just block Fury, Bloodbraid plus Omnath plus 2/2/2s comes in. Endicott, no cards in hand.
Yeah.
Solitude puts him up to 10 if he hits the subtlety. But he's just making... Because if he does this, though, and for some reason it doesn't work, Endicott can just kill him with 2 extremely big Murktide Regents. So.
Well, there was only 1 instant or sorcery, so they're actually not that big.
All right. Bye, subtlety.
Yeah, draw 4 cards.
Brr. Drew another subtlety. Don't cast that one.
Another
though.
Bloodbraid Elf.
Another Fury. That's why you're never going to beat this deck with Ragavan. And by never, I mean rarely.
Oh, yeah, there's a Fury. We can kill the other Murktide.
It's just so much. Like, he's literally having to limit the number of cards he plays so he doesn't deck himself or whatever. It's just so silly. The Beanstalk deck just goes wild.
We're just fetching to get mana with Omnath. Okay, Endicott finally says that's game. So
You got it.
congratulations to James Mangus.